Hey traders, welcome to Time to Caffeinate and Dominate. Great to see everyone. Happy Friday. Hope everyone is doing well. I had some requests to take a look at the charts through TradingView. So that is what we are going to do this morning. And I know a lot of you have asked me about TradingView and other platforms. Gang, there are so many amazing platforms out there, but I've only got two eyes, two hands, and there's only so much I can work with. And frankly, luckily, I have the Lorna bot. A lot of you know the Lorna bot from the futures room and the options room and my sector secrets mastery. She does all my coding, has now for a little bit. If you're using the HPMRs, the hourly price movement ranges, she fine-tuned that process that I worked on for 10 years for me. We're working on some new ones, like the DPMRs. I know I shouldn't let that out yet, but we're working on a lot of cool things. But each one of these platforms has its own language. And I can do a little bit of ThinkScript. I can be a little bit of Pine Editor. But what we're sticking with are Thinkorswim, because most of our simpler community is on Thinkorswim. And I love the broker agnostic TradingView. I've been on TradingView for, I think, almost 9 years now. And it's a great web-based platform. So a lot of you have asked, Rog, what platforms do you use for charting? Those are what I use. And again, this is what I will say. Use whatever you're comfortable with. Use whichever one your indicators are on. I love TradingView because I can pull up on TradingView. I've got my phone here. I can pull up on TradingView, and this way I can be away from the office. And if I get an alert from, say, my TOS platform or whatever I'm logged into, if I get an alert that I have a setup, I can actually pull up a chart with my multi-trend and my wave and my grab and all my stuff on my phone. And it doesn't matter where I am. So that's one of the reasons I really like TradingView, because the mobile version has my indicators. That's all I wanted to say. I get a lot of questions about the platform. Use the one that resonates with you the best. These are the two that I use the most. All right. So as always, gang, let's just jump into it, because we've got Jackson Hole a week from today. And there's going to be a lot of concern about whether or not at the Jackson Hole Symposium in Wyoming, we get some sort of, earth-shaking revelation from the Federal Reserve. The Fed Fund futures will be most especially important to watch between now and then, but there's really nothing there, not since the minutes anyway, that have changed our expectations for what they are going to do, right? And so we'll just have to take it day by day. But that Jackson Hole Symposium next Friday, I believe next Friday is what, the 26th, is going to be a pretty big event. So in the meanwhile, it does still make sense to be nimble, to continue to day trade. And that's something we've been doing every single morning, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 10:35 in the Sector Secrets Mastery. And a lot of folks ask, Rog, after summer, are you going to change up what you're doing? Well, it does appear that buy the dip is back. I did a whole free video on this at the Simpler Trading YouTube channel. And what we're able to do, all of us, because many of you have the tools that I use. A lot of these I make available for free to members. You know that we're double green on the NASDAQ. You know we're double green on the S&P, double green on the Russell. We have uptrends. And if you remember the halcyon days of 2020, what we had were uptrends. What we had were uptrends. They are the most, I hate to use the word predictable, but psychologically, yes. They're the most predictable underlying behavior for the widest groups of traders. You like momentum breakouts? Great. Uptrends are great for that. You like to buy the dip like I like to? Uptrends are the only way to do it. So we're in the process of developing uptrends north of the 200 exponential. I'm very excited about what September holds for us. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to continue to day trade and focus on those short-term opportunities. And then come September, we can do both. So yeah, you better believe I'm stoked about it. All right, gang, let's get to the questions and let's kick it off. Hey there, Kevin, how are you? All right. What are my thoughts on long calls on X? Sure. Long calls on X below the 200 EMA, but double green approaching the wave. I do like it. Market structure eclipses pretty much everything else other than high impact, high volatility scheduled events, AKA what I call hot zones, and earnings. If we're in a 2-week or less timeline to earnings, I'm willing to play dips in those double green uptrends. Do I like this one? Yeah, I mean, we've got earnings in the rear view mirror. We've got dividends in the rear view mirror. Yeah, I like it. Now you're right. We are still below that 200, but here's a tip, Kevin. If we've pierced it and then come back below it, that's very different than a dip that we may buy below it. So if we've already sort of breached it, even though we didn't stay above it and come back down, that level is no longer impenetrable. In fact, based on my propulsion tools, you'll notice no dots, no problem. So in terms of upward movement through that level, it's really not a level that I have to be as concerned about any longer. So there you go. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. It's a good looking setup. All right. I'm actually going to write that one down. We've had our eye on a couple SLX, XME type names, and X might be a really good one. So that's the other thing I would tell you, Kevin. I would recommend what I'll do is I'll crack open XME. What I'll do is crack open SLX, take a look at the other stocks that are like similar to X and make sure, hey, is there maybe a double green that's already north of the 200 and continuing to climb? So that might be a relative outperformer amongst the bullish stocks. Next up, hey there, ASTS. You got it, student. All right. ASTS. Okay. Space Mobile. I know nothing about Space Mobile. I'll tell you the truth. I have no clue what this stock is, although it's looking like it's launching into outer space. Let's look at the structure. How do you acquaint yourself with one of the 9,000 plus stocks that are out there that we could not possibly know everything about? 3 steps. What's the structure of the stock itself? Do a reverse search and find out who's hanging out with Space Mobile. What other stocks are in the group that Space Mobile would be in? In other words, where is it within the passive investing universe? Where is it within ETFs that might include this? And then having seen all that, buy the dip. I will not. So, anytime you see a chart that looks like it was just shot out of a cannon, rest assured, I'm not going to be trading it. And the reason is coffee. And the reason is because until I get a pullback, until I can see a volume ledge, it's not unusual to see the market take off, especially a sub 10 or sub $20 stock. It's not unusual to see the market take off through some really beautiful point of control and volume ledges, and then things get relatively thin. So there's not a lot going on up there. Maybe a little something around 12.15, right? You can see there's a very subtle volume ledge there. Volume ledge, gang, it's just a Ragheeism for you can actually see a little bit more volume at that price level based on the histogram along the right side of this chart. That's a volume profile. And then I'm looking for the more obvious, thicker levels of volume, and that's just a ledge. It just looks like the side of a mountain and there's a ledge sticking out. That's why I call them a volume ledge. And this is where you want to be a little bit cautious because a lot of obviously euphoria, but you need some volume with that euphoria. So thanks for the question. It's always good to talk about stocks that may not be the ones we always talk about, the heavily weighted stocks within the SP, NASDAQ, Dow. What about up and comers? What about stocks that might have interesting price movement, but we may not know a lot about them? And that's the process I would use. So am I going to buy a dip? So let's talk about what a dip is. A dip is not simply a move lower. So JR, this is not a dip to me, and I'm not sure which market you're talking about specifically, but let me know. I'm happy to look. But let's talk about the S&P, right? Kind of a broad look at everything. Down movement alone is not a dip. So by the dip, it's been reduced to a meme, and it's oftentimes picked on, but I am a proud buy the dip trader. But let's talk about the process. Do I have an uptrend? Check. Are we pulling back? To your point, JR, yes. The next part is, what is the level from which I've reached support, right? So buy the dip is another way of saying it is regression to the mean. So what's your mean? What's my mean, right, JR? I could start a meme at a meme. I could start the mean at an anchored volume weighted average price. I love a VWAPs, anchored VWAPs. I could use an anchored VWAP. I could use the 200. I could use a 21 propulsion, which is coming up in here. I could use volume ledges, right? So there's no one definition of what the mean is, but I need some sort of regression to the mean, some sort of pullback. Maybe it's a Fibonacci level. Maybe you're looking at previous support by way of my Darvis. That's going to come in, say, around the Darvis 2.0 comes in around 42.05. So we've got to pick that level. We've got to pick that price that then defines what that buyable measured move is, aka the dip. So no is a simple answer, JR, but following that up, that's what I'm going to be looking for. So thanks for the question. All right, next up, Marla, like the video by the dip. I appreciate that. Do I think Bullard coming out and saying 75-point hike in September should happen? So two things when it comes to Fed members. So first of all, Bullard is Bullard. Bullard has a way of, if there's an extreme amongst opinion, it just seems that's where Bullard likes to hang out. It's not uncommon at all for Bullard to have a little bit more extreme in opinion. I think the more important part of the conversation regarding Bullard is he is a voting member, right? So do I think him alone? I wish Fed members had baseball cards, right? Where we could pull up the card, look at the stats, and find out how often their commentary is in line with ultimately what the market or what the FOMC ultimately did. I would say if I did have that baseball card with Bullard, that is usually no, not usually reflective of a broader consensus within the voting members of the FOMC. So yeah, the member does matter. Are they typically hawkish? Are they typically dovish? Or are they Bullard? Okay. Powell is always going to be the spokesperson for the FOMC. So now we can measure it, Marla, and now we would just go to the FOMC target rate probability and see if it moved around at all. That's the way that I would do that. I hope that makes sense. Hey there, Ronaldo. How are you? Good morning, all. Please. Oh, well, yes. Thank you very much. Gang, if this is a needle mover, right? Let me know if you want. Look, we could talk brownie recipes for 20 minutes. We could talk about, whatever book you're reading. Right now I'm reading, got a couple of them. I like to read two books at the same time. So we could talk about books. I'm reading right now. I highly recommend anything by Raghee. This is called Reality is Not What It Seems. And at the same time, I'm reading this one right here, which is a new one to me. Your Brain is a Time Machine, which is a really cool breakdown of neuroscience and the physics of time. It's really good. And it works really well with the Raghee book. We can talk about books, whatever you want, but let me know what you want to talk about. What can I do to make this 20 minutes a better preparation for you before you go into one of the simpler rooms or before you start your trading day? So I really do appreciate that. I do really. It's very kind of you. Gang, let me know what I can do during these 20 minutes to help. And I'm not going to stop doing these. I mean, I'm not going to say, well, if nobody watches, I'm going to leave. What kind of jerky thing is that? I've seen that on other videos. I'm like, come on, either you do this because you love it or you don't. So let me know how I can best help. We used to do this show. It's coming up on a year and a half. When I first used to do the show, I think sometimes we had 13 people logging in and then maybe 50 and then maybe 100. And now we're usually 400 or 500 here in the room. So I love doing this. And if it's just me and 9 of you, that suits me just fine too. So I do appreciate that, Ronaldo. All right. Happy Friday, Karthik. In terms of day trading, am I open to breach retreats now for double green indices? That's a great, great, great question. In fall, in September. So Karthik, on September 1, whatever day that is, I think it's a Tuesday. On September 1, yeah, is it a Tuesday? It's a Thursday. It's a Thursday. On September 1, ask me. Yeah. My thinking is if the uptrends can survive Jackson Hole, if the uptrends can survive Jackson Hole, then that answer is a yes. And the reason that we like the breach retreats and uptrends better is in that initial break and pullback and support tends to work better as well. So let's wait for the fall volatility to return. And then at that point, we can start, come September, maybe, into a few days. Yeah, we can definitely start considering, all right, S&P, can we start breach retreat entries, the NASDAQ, and by the way, gang, it's not just about day trading and it's not just about swing trading. It's being able to shift gears, it's having that high and low gear to shift in and out of. So we're going to continue to day trade in the Sector Secrets Mastery going into September, as we've done all summer long, pretty much. So now we can start to add some buy the dip on the dailies. Love it. A little bit slower moving setups, longer time horizon expectations for movement, being a bullish trend follower. And then within that, we'll take advantage of the first hour of every day, 9:30 to 10:35. And I love being able to do both. So if we can add that in September, Karthik, yeah, terrific question. I'm just kind of presupposing that's going to be a yes. Yeah. All right, Avi asks, I know your 5-minute method. Find the hourly chart with double green. No, that's not my method, Avi. I don't use an hourly at all. But if I'm misreading that, I know your 5-minute methods. Find the hourly chart with double green. No, that's not me, my friend. And then 34 EM, but you get the rest of it right. You get the rest of it right. So I don't use multiple time frame confirmation. I don't care what's going on at the hourly chart. Not at all. No. Now, if you want to do that, Avi, let me mention this. If you like a 60-minute time frame, let's do this here real quick. If you like a 60-minute time frame and 1 hour time frame, having structure that is in line with your, and I don't know why this chart just did that. That's so weird. If you want that kind of confirmation, cool. But no, I do not. What I want to know is where are we along the lines of some key support and resistance on the daily? And then I want to know what the structure of the actual 5-minute chart is, because that's the time frame from which I'm going to be making a decision. Now, for example, today, S&P E-mini is neutral on the 1 hour, and it's also neutral on the 5-minute, right? It's neutral on the 5-minute. That doesn't really tell me anything, does it? I just know that it's neutral longer term and it's neutral shorter term relative to each other, right? Really what I want to do is, where are we in relation to the previous session close? Clearly bearish. And then what's the structure on the 5-minute? I think the most interesting thing about the 5-minute right now, and remember this, one of the reasons I don't use multiple time frame confirmation is the 5-minute is going to have insight into where the 60-minute is going to go, not vice versa. So if you're saying, Rag, why don't you use it? I see so many traders doing that. The 5-minute chart is a building block to the 60. 12 of those 5-minute candles is my 60-minute candle. So if there's going to be a shift on the 60, it's going to start on the 5. And you can see there was a downtrend, and now it's gone neutral. When it's gone neutral is just as important to me as the fact that it has gone neutral on the 5-minute. But do I use only the wave? So Avi, obviously in a 20-minute show, I can't give you a bouillabaisse of my day trading, but I think you're on the right track. Check out some of the free videos where I go into a lot more detail. But no, I appreciate the question. But please, my friend, I do not use multiple time frame confirmation. But if you find that it helps you filter out trades, by all means, keep with it. A lot of traders do it and they love it. I just found that it made for complication that wasn't needed. But I love the question and I do appreciate it. Sue asks, how can we know if this is a sustained uptrend and not a bear market rally? Sue, we don't, my friend. There's no certainty in trading. There's no certainty in trading. I think traders, if there was a great video, and you don't have to be a fan, but Anthony Robbins did something which I watch this video, whether you like Anthony Robbins or not. I think this is a brilliant video, and it's called The 6 Human Needs. You can find it online for free. I think there's some PDFs and things like that. And he talks about the 6 human needs. And one of them is certainty. Now, we don't all value certainty in the same way. Not all of us need certainty. By the way, what are the needs? Certainty, uncertainty, or variety. So right there, you've got this huge contrast between some of us want the adventure, uncertainty. Some of us want certainty. You've got to rank these things. So certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection or love, growth, and contribution, right? So if you're a trader and uncertainty is one of your main needs of the 6, we need all of them, just to varying degrees. If you can really have a little moment of self-awareness and ask yourself, where am I on these 6 things? You'll realize why you trade the way you trade. I don't value uncertainty that much. I don't even value certainty that much. I value growth. Growth is really up there for me. And I never really thought about it. Growth is up there. So growing my capital or growing in myself, I'm open to whatever's going to map to growth. And so growth, and I was shocked to find out connection was another one that I ranked really high on. So I want to grow, and then I want to take people with me. That's what checks the boxes for me. So if certainty is a really high need for you, my friend, those are things that are going to keep you from progressing. So work on that. And the bottom line is, I have no idea. But the way to fix that is start to work on the ways in which, look, you're not going to change your human needs. We are who we are. They might evolve a little bit here and there, but they're pretty much going to be the same. I figure by about 12, we are who we are. All right. Anyway, if certainty is big, find a process where you can macroeconomically, trend-wise, indicator-wise, visually get a little bit surer footing. So it might mean that your process is going to be slower, which is fine, longer term time frame, and you might need a few more tools to help you get from here to there. I hope that helps everyone, gang. That's what's helped me. Self-awareness, not trying to change myself, and just saying, all right, what do I need to function as Raghee, right? Which is going to be very different than Sue, right? So I hope that helps. All right, gang, as always, thanks for being a part of the Caffeinate and Dominate crew. I will see you all on Sunday, 6 p.m. for our weekly report show. In the meanwhile, remember, gang, options expiration, caution day, sector secrets, folks, no day trading for me today, but I will see you all for Ask Me Anything, 2:30 to 4. We'll take a look at the closing session together. Be good to each other, gang. And if you're in the Sector Secrets Mastery or want to check it out, today's a great day to join because we do a 90-minute session where we go through a lot of, your questions and a recap of the week. All right. Be good to each other.